Good morning, everybody. How are you guys today? Sorry about the short notice on the reminder. I kept thinking about it last week and just kept forgetting to send the email. So it's totally my fault, but thank you for those of you that joined us this morning. So we're going to be back onto this regular every second Tuesday of the month. We will do this at 10 o'clock on the Zoom. I'll send you a link. If all else fails, we can do it on Facebook Live also, which we are doing right now too. Hopefully we have people who joined us there. So that way we can reach as many of you as possible. As things are going well in Michigan, we may be doing a hybrid of this soon where we are actually meeting in person again. So fingers crossed on that one, but things are looking good. So we're getting excited about that and starting to get ready to do some events in person. So I am actually going to do the non-fiction list first. Again, it's a little bit shorter because I warned Keith for a whole 20 minutes that he had to give me a list. So he got me some really good books. He did them very quickly. He would like to have added more. That was my fault. Please do not blame Keith. So, but he did want me to mention this one, Until Unity. It's the new Francis Chan book that he talked about at Librarians Week last month, and we didn't get it in until partly through the week. So some of you that had come in early might not have gotten it. So you can come get your copy or order your copy today. And then we're going to go on with his list from there. We have, I have the wrong one on top. This has been a really good week for me. Making of Women, or Biblical Womanhood. When I talk to people about this one, because I haven't had a chance to read it myself, it just fascinates me because I'm very interested in it. And in fact, it's the top line here is it's time for the Christian patriarch to end. But it's not just completely that, like throw the baby out with the bathwater sort of book. It's how can we work as equals instead of one in control of the others. So it will cause some controversy, but it's causing more those that want to keep women subjugated instead of being able to work in the church. So I think it would open a great discussion about whether what is biblical and what is not. So I think in a library that would be a very, very good fitting thing. So the next one is called Faithful. If nothing else, this cover is beautiful. But I have been paging through this book and reading a few here and there. And each one of these authors, and I'm not going to list them all because there's a bunch, but you would know them, like the introduction is by Amy Grant, Ann Voskamp is in here, Kelly Mintner, Lisa Harper. So there's names you're going to know. And so let me see if I can quick find the table of contents. So this is the table of contents. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of bright. But each one of these is a different woman in the Bible. So each of the ladies took at least one. I think there's a couple that did two. And then they write a little bit about each woman. Here's Rahab. And then they do that. And it's kind of written in devotional style, but you could read it as a Bible study. You could read it individually from beginning to end. And so it covers these women in the Bible. Now some of them like Rahab and Eve, but there were a few in here. Those are the ones that intrigued me. It was the bent woman. Hannah is in here. Myra, I can always say that wrong. So there's some you're going to know very well and then some newer ones. So I love those kind of books that remind us that women had that just as important jobs to do in the Bible to make sure either in the Old Testament that the prophecies were fulfilled and then afterwards to help spread the gospel. So I like those kind of books. Don't Believe the Swipe. And this one is not going to be for a bunch of us, but it is going to be a good one for the library because it talks about dating online and some of the do's and don'ts, some of the things that are important to remember when you're online, looking whether you're dating or just kind of messing around. So this one has been selling like hotcakes. They are the ones that are interested in buying it and reading it and learning all this because that's how they do things. I mean, it used to be you could meet somebody in church, so, but I thought that was kind of a neat way, so you make sure. And one of the things that I thought was interesting, and the subtitle reminded me of Finding Love Without Losing Yourself. It reminds you not to put up pictures that are not truthful or facts that are not truthful because lying about yourself isn't going to help you find that love of your life. So, and I think that was true even when you met face to face. So, The next one is by Hope Carpenter, The Most Beautiful Disaster. This one, actually, when I was talking to Keith about it, he said it could have gone in spiritual memoirs too, because this is talks about how God has used or made miracles out of what we consider would be a mess in our life. And so these different people all tell their stories, and Hope compiled them into kind of a neat little book. There's little highlights in it and such. This could easily read as a Bible study too. You could go chapter by chapter and discuss that, but you could read it. I think you could read it from cover to cover, because when I was paging through it, it looks like it's one of those fun books that, the truth is stranger than fiction sort of books. Even though it's not strange, maybe it's a good word there, but it's hard to believe that some of these people survived these things, and so which always makes for an interesting story, and how God uses that, even in ways we don't expect him to. So. And then the last one is Simply Bright by Kristen Clark and Bethany Beal. This is a devotional for teens, but it's one of those that, to be honest with you, I would mention it to maybe your youth leader. With graduations coming up, this one is 60 Days Becoming a Girl Defined by God. So actually would make a great graduation gift. Also, so I know it's kind of hard to work with those in your library, with the devotionals being daily. But with 60 days, maybe you can allow somebody to have it for 2 months instead of just the normal amount of time that you normally do library books, just to have a good one in there, especially for girls and teens that age. Being defined by God is one of those concepts that not always understood. I know I didn't when I was a teenager, so that anything we can do to help them. So now I am going to turn this over to Jessica. She will have a nice list for the juveniles and the kids. She's got a really good stack, so I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say. Hi, Jess.
Hi. All right, so there are some really fun titles in here, and I'm really excited to show them to you guys. So the first one we're going to start off with is Where Did My Giggle Go by Max Lucado. This one comes in a board book as well as a picture book. This is absolutely adorable. What it does is it goes through, he wakes up and he's just kind of in a grumpy mood. And he tries to find where his giggle went, where did his happiness go? And so he goes throughout the town and starts helping people, making messes in the bakery, trying to find the dog's toy and all this different things. And he learns that his giggle didn't really go anywhere. It just was hidden. And to find that giggle, he had to help others find theirs. So it's just a cute little story. All right, this next one I'm really excited about. It's Pugtato, Let's Be Best Buddies. I absolutely love puns, and this one is full of them. There's a picture book that kind of goes with this too. It's a bit different of a story, but just putting plants and animals together is it's hilarious, and I love it. So What Do I Do with Worry by Dr. Josh and Christy Staub. This one, again, goes through children who, are still learning how to deal with their emotions. And what do they do if they feel worried? What if, the butterflies are in their stomach? How do they cope with that? And it just teaches them how their worry birds are not meant to be held. You try to hold a bird, it starts to squirm, it doesn't like it very much, but God takes our birds from us, and if we release them to him, we don't have to worry about it anymore. All right, this next one is a 68 story book. This is The Promise. This is done by the same illustrator that did Love Gave, which is a book I recommended a couple months ago now. It just kind of goes through the story of the promise of salvation throughout the entire Bible. How, men tried to save themselves from their own sin, and nothing worked until Jesus came and took that all from us. This next one is Tell God How You Feel. Again, it's another book that talks about anxiety and fear and sadness and just how to cope with that. And it goes through 5 different little stories, and each one they have discussion questions at the end of them, so that parents can kind of guide their kids on what to do with the different things that they feel, bringing up different memory verses to focus on and everything. So what do you say to a dragon? I was instantly intrigued by this book because I love dragons. And so when I saw the cover, I was like, I need to read this. It is absolutely adorable. What it is he dreams about this big scary dragon, and his parents hear him crying and they come to help him. Well, and they teach him, you need to ask why the dragon is there. Why is the dragon there? And he finds out that the dragon was just having a bad day. He's really a nice dragon. He just wasn't having any fun. So he learns that the fear that he thought was there wasn't as bad as it was. So it's a cute little story. All right. In our 9 to 12s, we have Leo, the inventor extraordinaire. This is a really fun mystery puzzle solving book. He goes through the school that he's lived at his entire life and learns that there's a ton of secrets that he needs to find the answers to. So that's what he does. He finds these hidden tunnels underneath, and then he learns that there's a lot more about his past than he was even aware of. It's a cool story that gets into like the robots and the different inventions, and it's really fun. All right, this next one is a biography for about 8 to 12-year-olds. It's called A Chance in This World. It's based off of the real life story of Steve Pemberton's. He gets taken from his mother at a very young age and is forced into this foster family that really wasn't nice to him at all. But he is donated a bunch of books from a stranger, and through that, he learns that there's hope for a better future. And he then goes on his own journey to find out about his past and ends up finding a lot more than he thought he would, God being one of them. All right. In our picture books, we have one that's called The Dad, the Man, the Myth, and the Legend. And this is absolutely hilarious. Even if you just browse through it, it talks about how, dads always think they're so great, which they are, but, the car chasing and the superheroes. And then the mother kind of quips in with reality and goes, yeah, this is what really happened. He got pulled over by the police kind of thing. The humor in this is it's great for the entire family. You'll be cracking up. All right. The last one I have for you is called 3,000 Stitches. This one doesn't necessarily have any biblical point of view to it. However, it's a really cool story. I didn't know this was a thing. So in 9/11, they had a flag that covered all of the debris. Well, it kind of got raggedy and torn up through all of that. But when the hurricane hit, and I don't remember exactly which one, they used that flag and they took it to the people where the hurricane happened. And they ended up starting to patch up this flag. And through that process, they actually took it to all 50 states. And in each state, a new stitch was added, a new patch. It was fixed up through every disaster, through every state. It was really cool to see that all come together. If you get the chance, I definitely suggest picking this one up too. All right, so that is all I have for you guys today. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Chris.
Oh, she turned off her camera, but how can they order kids' books from you?
So they can email me at my email address, which is Jessica, JESSICA.more, MORE, @bakerbookhouse.com, or call in the store and ask for me.
Perfect.
Or on the website.
On the website. Don't forget the website. Sorry about that. I kind of ad-libbed to her, so that wasn't fair. If you, and to be honest with you, you don't have to order just kids books from her and just fiction books from me. You can do both. Send in one order to one or the other of us. We'll help each other. It's not a big deal. Definitely feel free to come in the store and shop. That also is available. So any one of those methods. So we'd be glad to take the orders anywhere from here. And of course, remember on these small librarians say you get 25% for the orders. It does not have to come in today. It does have to come in by the end of this week, whatever Friday is, and I think that's the 14th. So, to get the discount, we have to kind of limit it. Otherwise, you guys, they get mad at me because I'm filling orders on the 20th. So, but yeah, so just send them in however you can do it, and we'll go from there. So now for my list, the first few I'm going to do a little quicker because they were ones I did do some of at Librarian's Day. but they were the ones that came in like on that Tuesday. And so they kind of got blurred in the lines of who did hear the review and who didn't. So I didn't want them to get missed because there are some really good books in that list. So I'm going to start with those and then I'll go on to the new ones from there. So the first one was Denise Hunter's book, The Bookshop by the Sea. A delightful story of a young lady who it's after having to raise her own siblings has got her own time, and her dream has always been to open a bookshop, and then things happen that make it a little more complicated than she thought. So so just a good story about following your dreams, but also there's some good funny points in it too. So I did enjoy that part. Woman of Words by Angela Hunt. This is book number 3 of the Jerusalem Road. This is the story of Mary, the mother of Jesus, but after his ascension and what happened with her and the building of the church and such. So Angela does have her degrees in biblical study and biblical research. I have no idea what those are called, but she has a PhD. So you know the research is above board, and you know that she did a lot of it. I love Angela's books for that reason alone. Her research is amazing. Every time I read one, I learn something new, even though it's a fiction story. You know, you can kind of follow up on that on your own. I know you can go on her website and ask her questions too. She loves that. So, but I've always liked Angela's books. So, Susan Wood Fisher's Lighthouse Point. This is book number 3 of the Three Sisters novels. Obviously the last one because we're out of sisters. These are contemporary as opposed to her Mennonite and Amish books that she writes. But I really, really have enjoyed them. And a lot of people that have been reading Irene Hanna's women's fiction are reading these also, and vice versa, just because they're right along the same lines. So I like sister books, and I like women contemporary issue books. So Rosanna White has a new series started. It's set in 1906 in I want to say Sicily, and now I'm not confirming that. Yes, there it is. It's on the back. So beautiful cover. It's book number 1 of the Secrets of the Isles. So there'll be more of them. I can't wait to see what the covers are. I have not had a chance to read this one yet. It is on my pile at home that I got to get it read. But Rosanna, again, she does her research for the historical part of her books. She's got always a good storyline that way. She's got a good romance in there. So those are enjoyable to read that way too. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. And then Let It Be Me by Becky Wade. And I know Becky is doing an event with us, and I am forgetting the date right now. Somebody will type it in the chat for you. So this is the book we'll be discussing, but also we'll be discussing summer reads in general, just because Becky's books lend themselves very well to that. So contemporary women issue driven. This is a Misty River romance. So. And then 2 more, one being a debut novel by Melissa Coslin, Never Miss. This is a romantic suspense. So, and it also deals with investigating a pandemic, which we know nothing about. So this should be a really good read. And it actually hasn't developed into a pandemic yet, but they are worried about medical issues. So it's a little bit different than that. So, and then, oh, and I forgot about Rosanna White. I apologize, Rosanna. Yeah. So, and Under the Magnolias, this one, to be honest with you, is one of the 2 books that are in the running for the book of the year for me. This one deals with a family where the father is spiraling, that sounds really good when you can say it right, into madness or insanity. And so it deals with mental illness and how family works with it, but also how the church reacted to it. So those are the ones from last month. So if you're saying to yourself, I already heard these reviews, you may have. I did them at the 2 o'clock Facebook time. So not everybody caught that. So I just wanted to pick them up again just because they're really good books. So the rest of these are new and came in after Librarians Week. So we'll get started here. We got a really, really nice little list. So James Hannibal's new book, Paris Betrayal, actually is about a spy who is kind of thrown out in the cold. He is told that he has betrayed his country, and then he's kicked out, and of course then everybody is trying to kill him, and he can't figure out what happened. It is on the 40% off special for the whole month. It is book of the month for Baker this month, so for the fiction department. So that makes for a nice little deal too. Great guidebook, but anybody that's looking for a good action adventure book, James books are great for that, and I really, really enjoyed this one. Paint and Nectar by Ashley Clark. I am a few hundred pages into it. I shouldn't say a few hundred because this is not a 500-page book. I'm a couple hundred pages into it. I'm getting close to the end. I am thoroughly enjoying it. It is a split novel between contemporary time and 1929, and it does pick up a few of the characters from her The Dress Shop on King Street. It's part of the Heirloom Secret series, book number 2. And so they kind of, it was, what I found fascinating is the contemporary stories overlap each other. It's not like well, the dress shop ended and this one picks up. They're kind of overlapping. So some of the things you hear are kind of picking up on what is happening in the dress shop book. So I to write books like that is fascinating because how you remember where to put things. So very, very well done. I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed the dress shop book. So I'm looking forward to more books from Ashley. So. Karen Kingsbury has a new book. It's part of the Baxter family. I'm not sure where in all these follow because and drop in because I lose track of them. She has put them in groupings in the front of this book, so that helps. And you can kind of piece them together there. Now these are, there are ones considered Baxter family standalones and things like that. So like I said, you got to kind of piece them together yourself. So this is the new one, and I was going to remember, and then I forgot. Jack Ryder is and Eliza Lawrence are the main characters here. So interesting read. Those of you that love Karen Kingsbury are going to, of course, love Karen Kingsbury's writing. So I have not read that one, but I know from other people that have read it, you know, it's classic Karen. So you can truly enjoy it. Stephanie Lansdom, the date for this interview will pop up shortly because I know it's in the next couple of weeks, and I think it's next week, Tuesday, but I don't remember the date of it. And so that'll pop up. She's very good. She's very, very good. But in a far off land, this is a nod to the prodigal son story. It is set in the 1930s in Tinseltown, and our young character, Minerva, she eventually goes by Minnie, which really helps me because Minerva seems to be a hard name for me to say. But anyway, she runs off to Tinseltown because she's going to become a star and she's going to save the family farm and she's going to do all these fun things. And what she finds is a town that actually pretty much chews up and spits out young ladies like her. So like I said, there's a nod to the prodigal son in there. You will recognize it right away. It won't be a problem for you. But I enjoyed the story. There's a little bit of mystery to it. There is a romance to it, but it's a small part of the story. It's not the main theme of the story. So thoroughly enjoyed it. If you recognize Stephanie's name, she does have some biblical fiction out that is very, very good, especially if you read it right around Easter. The tomb is phenomenal. And then I couldn't find it on another list, but if I missed it and I just put it on there and just didn't catch it, 3 Missing Days by Colleen Coble concludes her Pelican Harbor series. So if you've been reading the other 2, you are definitely going to want that one. And excuse the background noise. They're working on the outside of the building. And of course, right now they're working right outside our window. Perfect. So bear with us. It's just going to make funny noises in the background. So Amy Clipson, I know this one was eagerly awaited, Jam and Jelly Nook, an Amish Marketplace novel. This is book 4, and I believe I had heard this is the conclusion to the Amish Marketplace series. I could be wrong. She's done that before where she's done 5, but classic Amy. I know we have sold a bunch of them already in pre-sales because people were waiting for it. So I was glad that one came out. Let me get a drink. You guys can catch up with me. I know I was talking fast there, sorry. And then Carolyn Miller, she writes Regencies. What's really nice, I can remember that because she titles all her series Regency something, and this is Regency Wallflowers. I believe, yep, in the front there, she again gives you all her books so you can find them. This is a new start of the series, I believe. I think, yep, book 1, I thought so. So Darkest Shore. So it's set during the Regency time, which is the late 1800s, early 1800s. Sorry, I can never remember. So I like her books for for Regency readers. Even those of us that aren't, huge fans of the Regency, I like her books because she's always got a little bit of a mystery to it, a little bit of a intrigue, I guess is a better word for it. She's a good person to read if you're like Julie Clausen and books like that. So And if nothing else, maybe if you watch an interview with her, she's fun to watch because she's from Australia. So she's got a wonderful accent. And then The Sound the Sun Makes. This is an intriguing book. He's got one other book out, and I'm blanking on the name of it. The Beautiful Ashes of Gomez. This is his second book. This one is about, and I thought this was interesting. It's about two different gentlemen, and they're very strong-willed. So there's one guy, Hammett Lamont, and he's working in Hollywood, and then he won't hesitate to trample anyone who stands in the way of his colossal, brutal, blasphemous vision. That is until a big, loud, spoiling for a fight, Early Pines hits the coast, and it's a clash of two titans. So if that's not an epic description of a book, I don't know what is. So, but it does make me interested to read it, to see. It looks like it's a good battle of good versus evil. It just came in a little while ago, so I haven't had a chance to read that one. But I know the Ashes one did pretty good. It is a guidebook. So if you're looking for some guidebooks, that probably is a good one for them. Now, Janet's book is out in softcover also. I just didn't get any copies in. I got this one in the large print in. We'll have the soft covers today. They just came in today instead of yesterday. So her new one, this is part of the When the Hope Calls book series. It kind of bounces off a little bit of the series that she is doing on TV with the When Calls the Heart series and the Canadian West series. So the first one was Unyielding Hope. This is not a Christmas book, even though the cover kind of implies it. So this one has two sisters and they run a foster home, and a little white lie puts that in danger. So traditional Janet Oak books, one of those that just kind of warms your heart a little bit while you're reading them. So I know I grew up on reading them. So here's a different book for you from Jody. Now, Jody is known for her historical romances. She is. Well done, always fun. This is a time travel book. Come Back to Me is book number 1 of the Waters of Time series. Now, Jody's going to be in talking about this book on the 25th. Oh, she's already got it in there. Look at me remember it though. But anyway, so I'm so excited to talk to her about it, because if you like her books because of the historical romance, you do get that in here. But you have the time travel, so you have a contemporary story and you have a historical story. You have no problem telling them apart. I am not a time travel book fan. I just am not. I don't know why. I really like this book though. Partly I think because of the mystery she adds to it, and something that is going on that these people want to travel in time for something. So if nothing else, the cover will be beautiful on your shelves. But it is a good book. I really enjoyed it. And I think a lot of people, I actually asked my daughter to read it, who likes time travel, and she enjoyed it. So it's very, very well done. So I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next. So. And then Power Play. This is Rachel Dillon's book number 3 in Capital Intrigue series. The rest of them are listed in the front of the book. I can always get them to shoot me an email if you have any questions. Her romantic suspense leans a little to the more romance part than the suspense, but the suspense is also a little bit darker. So the romance is kind of one of those relief part of the stories where you get a break from all the evil and the bad stuff that's happening in them. So I really like her stories. If you like Irene Hannon, Lynette Easton, Patricia Bradley is one. All of those suspense books. I think you're going to enjoy Rachel. So if you haven't tried them, she's got a couple series out now. So I do have guys reading these books, and you know what? If I can ever figure out why they read certain ones and not others, I would let you know. But I don't know why. So, but don't Rachel. Maybe it's because the covers are darker. I don't know. So, and then Jamie Jo Wright's new book, On the Cliffs of Foxglove Manor. Even though for some reason I keep trying to call it something else. I don't know why. This is a good ghost story. It is a dual time, as Jamie loves to write. It is a good guidebook, even if the main character is female. The guys that are in it are a hoot. I will tell you, there's a couple older people in it that I have fallen madly in love with and would like to be my neighbors. But it's got a good intrigue. There is a Civil War missing treasure, and so when the modern time is they're both times are looking for this treasure. What I really liked, not only about this book, but Jamie does it in her other books, there's always somebody that has, and I want to say special needs. Sometimes it's more of a health issue. This one is an autistic boy. that she includes in the story and helps you realize what it's like to have an autistic family member. So really very well written that way, exactly what it's like. So I don't recommend reading them at home in the dark by yourself, though. Just a heads up. And then on the lighter side, thank goodness, we have Karen Whitmire's new one, A Heart's Charge. This is book number 2 of the Hangers Horseman. She writes historical romance. They're wonderful and fun to read. There's laugh out loud, funny parts. There is some good research in there about what it was like to live back in this time. This one is about, let's see, Mark Wallace and Jonah Brooks. And so they arrived back in Texas. So it is, I can get your date because I know you'll ask. People do. It's funny. This is set in 1894, so just after the Civil War. So book number 2 of the series, I could probably do that too. Look at me think of things. It's like I've never done this before. This is ridiculous. At Love's Command. I should have remembered that one. We sold a bunch of them. So, and then our last one today is Lady in Attendance by Rachel Fordham. To be honest with you, I can't wait to read this because I love Rachel's books. They're very good. They're very historical. And here's a shameless plug. FRS is this weekend, Fiction Readers Summit. Rachel is actually one of the authors that will be there on Friday night and Saturday. Saturday costs $30. You got to pay a ticket. Friday night is free. You can just jump on and sign up for a ticket. We'll send you a link to Friday yet. So please feel free to do that. But this one is set in 1898 in New York. And so, like I said, I can't wait to read it. I just have not had a chance. So here I'm going to talk mindlessly about what's on the back. This one is about Hazel, and she takes a job as Dr. Gilbert Watt's lady in attendance so that she can help with the female patients. And then, of course, there is a handsome stranger that wanders into. So like I said, Rachel's books are always interesting to read. I always enjoy that. If you have any questions, I can babble on. You can listen to the bad noise in the background because now he's scraping the windows, which is always helpful. So you know, things you can't plan for when you do live. So it's all right. We go with that. So if anything else, as we leave here today, if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot us an email, give me a holler, whichever one works for you. And we will do this again next month. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye now.